Once again, a very good morning to all the participants. I, Dr. Shruti Zamsandekar, on behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Chhatrapati Shahu Institute of Business Education, welcome you all for today's social outreach webinar on industry and employment impact of COVID-19 pandemic, lessons for society. Our chief patron of this webinar are Dr. R.A. Shinde, Secretary and Managing Trustee, Cyber, CA H.R. Shinde, Member, Cyber Trust, Dr. C.S. Darvi, Director and Chairman, IQAC Cyber, our Program Coordinator, Dr. T.V.G. Sharma, also the Coordinator of IQAC Cyber, my co-joint coordinator, Dr. Ajay Shinde. Now, I request Dr. C.S. Darvi, Director of C-Cyber, to address our participants.
Good morning to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Respected Dr. R.A. Shinde, sir, Secretary and Managing Trustee, Cyber Kolhapur. CA H.R. Shinde, Trustee Members, Kolhapur. Dr. T.V. Sharma, Program Coordinator and IQAC Coordinator. Dr. Zamsandekar Madam, Dr. Ajay Shinde, sir, and his team. Today's chief guest, Sri Vinayji Gupte, Managing Director, ComSir, Sri S. Haridas, sir, General Manager, HR, Soundcasting, and dear participants. I welcome all of you to today's webinar entitled as Industry and Employment Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic, Lessons for Society. On this occasion, I wish to give you a brief information about the cyber. The seeds of always aiming for excellence and quality in higher education was laid by the founder director late Dr. A.D. Shinde Sahib in 1976. Cyber Kolhapur has always been a pioneer in providing a quality higher education not in Maharashtra but in the entire country. The quality education at Cyber has been endorsed by the various committees and regulatory bodies from time to time. This has reflected by A+ grade in 2017 NAAC assessment. We are also appreciated by UGC New Delhi, and when they conferred the status of college with potential for excellence, that is CPE, for third time. We have very dedicated staff on our campus. Campus is a lush green 11.2 acres with a 750 computer nodes and 90,000, more than 90,000 book volumes at our library or a knowledge resource center. Friends, this pandemic situation has created social, health, financial and employment problems. Today's webinar will definitely help us in understanding these problems. I wish all the participants and the team a good success. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, very much. Now I request Dr. T.V.G. Sharma to brief about today's webinar.
Good morning to all the participants. On behalf of Cyber Internal Quality Assurance Cell, I extend a warm welcome to the resource persons, Sri Vinay Gupte sir, Managing Director, Comserve Solutions Private Limited, Shri S. Sudesh Haridas Sir, General Manager HR, Soundcasting Private Limited, Kolhapur, and participants from all over the country. The world is passing through difficult times. In these troubled times, all institutions and organizations are contributing in their own possible way to help the humanity to tide over the crisis. In this context, the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Cyber Kolhapur has taken number of initiatives, and the present social outreach webinar is one such program. The basic objective of this webinar is to spread the awareness among the society about the industry and employment impact of COVID-19 pandemic. We are happy that the program has received overwhelming response from participants located in states like Kerala, Telangana, Karnataka, Goa, Andhra Pradesh, and of course, Maharashtra. I wish all the participants will have fruitful sessions in this particular webinar, and thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Our guest speaker of today's first session is Mr. Vinay Gupte. Gupte sir is the founder and managing director of Comserve Consultant Private Limited, Kolhapur. Sir is also our STM alumni of our institute. He is a certified information system auditor, certification by ISACA USA in information system security. He is also a Microsoft certified technology specialist. Sir is also the co-founder and former president of IT Association Kolhapur. About Comserve Consultant Private Limited, it is a product making IT company, has developed and implemented B-Ways ERP solution for more than 100 industries all over Maharashtra and has been awarded for his work from state government with Rajiv Gandhi IT Award in 2011. Comserve Consultant Private Limited has client base in United States, UK, Saudi Arabia, and all over the world. Gupte sir is a lead architect and conceptual designer of more than 40 business software solutions, including B-Ways Industrial ERP solution, BankServe, Total Branch Accounting for banks, and many more. Sir, it is indeed a very pleased opportunity to have you as a guest speaker for today's session. I hand over the session to you, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, you're audible now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the nice introduction. And I take this opportunity to thank all the organizers and the organization Cyber for the opportunity given to me to deliver my thought or my take on this COVID-19 situation. I would like to ask Ms. Jamsandek to share my screen.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Screen so that I can proceed without further delay.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, can you just raise the volume of your microphone?
Okay.
You're not very clearly audible. So can you please raise the volume?
Hello. Now
Yes,
it's okay?
sir.
Is it okay right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please share my presentation on the
Yes,
screen. Okay.
So can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
It is really, let me start now. Okay.
yes, sir.
So it is really very tough to predict the impacts of COVID-19 situation on our lives, only because at this moment of time, we are very much within the situation. We have not come out it fully. So we don't have enough data or patterns or any trends to comment upon the impact or making any kind of predictions. So I would like to share here few tools and approaches which helps us to understand the situation. This situation is very unique. Even World War scenarios were different. Some part of the world was always functional in terms of economic activity during world wars. But today, barring IT services to some extent, every other economic activity across the globe are standstill. Manufacturing, aviation, tourism, transport, or logistic, entertainment, name any major business segment which generates wealth and in turns is a cause of substantial economic activity and employment is not in functional mode. Such scenario was never before. We have never before attempted to shut down the modern global economy. Now, second challenge is in front of us is reopening the economy in the setting of current ongoing pandemic. We have a few examples of strategy that seem to work better or worse, but none of us know with any certainty the best actions. Even places with strong initial responses like Hong Kong and Singapore have faced challenges as they reopen. China also has seen increasing cases in the past few days. To face these challenges, we need to understand the situation first. To understand the current situation, we can follow the VUCA model. Thank you, madam. VUCA is an acronym that stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. A combination of qualities that, taken together, characterize the nature of some difficult conditions and situations. Our current scenario, our current situation is a VUCA situation in management terms. Volatility is the quality of being subject to frequent, please change to the next slide, madam. Hello. Please change the slide. Okay, thank you. Volatility is the quality of being subject to frequent, rapid, and significant change. The challenge is unexpected or unstable or maybe of some unknown duration, but it is not necessarily hard to understand. Knowledge about it is often available, but it changes in very frequent manner. The skills required to face volatility are future orientation, the discussions and knowledge about what the futures, the way we have conducted the current seminar or sorry, current webinar. Those kind of skills are required. You need to orient yourself. You need to be transparent. You need to have clear communication, and of course, the positively, very positively in your mind, you need to have a commitment to a better future. Next slide, please. Uncertainty. Despite a lack of other information, the event's basic cause and effects are known. Change is possible, not a given. Here, to counter uncertainty, we need to invest in information. We need to collect various data, various figures, various trends, various catalogs, and various predictions from various industry experts. we need to interpret them and we need to share them. This works best in conjunction with structural change and such as adding information analysis networks. Skills required for the any individual to handle the uncertainty are engagement, collaboration, flexibility, and value diversity. We need to engage each and every stakeholder around us who are going to impact by our decisions, and we need to engage them continuously with dialogue to address uncertainty quality of the current situation. Next slide, please. Madam, next slide. Ambiguity. The characteristics of ambiguity. The ambiguity is only because of the casual relationships and the way we perceive the world and the notions and the understanding we have about our existing worlds. Everything is changing right now. Everything is taken toll of this current impact, and that's why we are not sure about what is going to happen and how to approach the situation. During the ambiguity, you need to experiment more. You need to check and experiment various models, understanding cause and effects of each and every activity you are going to do. Hypothesis and testing, various hypotheses are required to handle ambiguity. Design your own experience so that lessons learned can be broadly applied for your future course of action. The skills required to address ambiguities are accountability, change advocacy. You keep on advocate the change and change management to all the stakeholders around you, and you need to suggest them, ask them to innovate new methods, new ways to experiment things, and you need to be technology centric to address ambiguity. Next slide, please. So, in short, or to summarize the VUCA model and the use of it, use of the understanding it, and to face the current challenges on our hand in our business or in any vocations we are in, that to be direct in complex situation, be understandable in ambiguous situation, you need to show a lot of empathy toward others for your for the every action or every decision you are going to take, and you need to empower others, and you need to be understandable in ambiguous situations. You need to be reliable. You need to be more trustworthy, and you need to invest more in emotions, more in people. Keep teams engaged, involve partners, seek to understand, and you need to be more trustworthy. You need to be more vocal. You need to be more straight to handle this VUCA situation in your particular in your life or in your vocation or in your business or any activity you are doing to earn your plate. Next slide, please. The another tool here I'm going to share with you, you need to ask questions to yourself. Questions I had drafted for you for this particular session, and this is from industry perspective. Are your customer segments badly affected by lockdown, and how much? Similarly, you can relate the questions if you are not industrialist, you are in any your student or your teacher or you are some employee or in social worker. You need to apply the spirit of these questions to your vocations. These are questions are for industries right now. The second thing, are there any other adjacent segment benefited by the lockdown which you can serve, and how much? In this question, you will get more opportunities or hidden opportunities. We are conditioned by the way we are doing business right now, but we need to change ourselves with the change and with this impact of COVID. So we need to find, are there any another ways we can add to our revenue streams? And the second question or similar questions will help you in that respect. Are there any adjacent segment who may need your product or services? a similar kind of question. Are your critical suppliers affected and may create problems for you? Yeah, in supply chain management or supply chain or the whole in global economy, the way you are dependent for profits to your customers and your sale, the way the customers are important. Similarly, the suppliers are also important, and the critical suppliers may cause a huge problem for your delivery mechanism. So you need to check them also, and you need to check whether they are affected and they may create, and you need to have some parallel sources or something like that. How are your competitors doing? This is the major question, and you need to ask yourself, and you need to you need to seek information, and you need to check their activities. How are your competitors doing, and what may they do after the lockdown ends? Another is this is exclusively for these two questions are for exporters. Will the overseas customers start sourcing locally instead of buying from you? Many countries are doing like that. The US, especially United States, have currently drafted new policies to have their own resources, and internally they are going to source so many things. You need to ask your overseas customer, or you need to check with them. Another kind of question is that are there any opportunity opening up due to impeding global boycott on China? That is the most likely condition. We don't know when it will happen, but that trade war is going on, and the impeding global boycott on China will be there. People are saying right now. You need to check, are there any opportunities opening up due to this? So you need to ask questions like this to yourself, and you need to drop new questions to your. This tool will help you to understand your situation from your business perspective, and you'll be getting more and more clarity for you. Next slide, please. Another tool in association with the earlier tool of questions, you can have a chart like this for industries, for your for any industrialist. This will help immensely. There are sectors, the car sectors, trucks and commercial vehicles, tractors, FMCG, garments and cinema, entertainment, chemicals, pharma. These are the major sectors. And you need to check whether these sectors will go up or down or not, not sure category. You can have your own interpretation for that. And the next point is you need to, you will have to check whether it will impact on your own business or your own activity or your own vocation. And this activity will definitely help you to have a more clear picture. And accordingly, you can have your action points or remarks for future. And this tool will help you immensely. I'm sure about it. Next slide. Based on this various readings and internet searching, these are the global scenarios. These are the winners and losers of current situation. These are potential winners in the short term. Rightly, the green one are winners, and the red ones and the shades of reds are for potential losers. Rightly said that medical supplies and services are winner right now, and it will be in near future because the COVID is going to create a havoc in our healthcare, and that's why the lockdown is there. And medical supplies and services, if you can realign your expertise and skill sets to that kind of services, you'll be having one more revenue line in your current vocation. Food supplies and retails are there, personal and healthcare are also there. ICT, especially those who are from technology background, they will have that kind of, they are going to get huge projects in coming future because everybody will be now technology centric. E-commerce is already taking a huge advantage of this current scenario. Agriculture, oil and gas, and then the diminishing and the losers loop will start. The most losing industry will be tourism and leisure, aviation, automotives, Real estate is already hit in India, and this manufacturing of non-essentials will take us. Education too will also get substantial impact of this current situation. So you can have your own interpretation of the situation using the models I shared with you right now. Especially if you can have those questions, ask yourself, and you can have sort of brainstorming among your peers and your friends and others from your particular vocation or particular business segment. Using these tools, you will have a pretty clear picture about your impact of COVID-19 on your particular your life or your particular vocation. And I'm sure this is a very tough scenario, and I'm sure you all will handle this scenario using such tools and will come out successfully. And I wish every success to every individual, and hope we'll handle this current scenario in much efficient and without or with very little damage. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful session. Now I request Dr. Kalindi Ranbare, Madam, to propose the vote of thanks.
Hello.
Yes, Madam, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good morning, one and all, honorable dignitaries and dear participants. It's my privilege to thank our today's guest speaker, Honorable Shri Vinay Gupte sir. Sir, your talk was very enlightening. You have given us valuable inputs to our audience, especially on tools, approaches, and VUCA model. You have sensitized us to be more responsible and creative during this outbreak situation. So, on
Welcome you all for the second session of today's webinar. Our guest speaker for this session is Shri Sudesh Haridas sir, HR General Manager of Soundcasting Kolhapur Private Limited. Now I request Dr. Bindu Menon to introduce our guest speaker.
Madam?
Yes, you're audible.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Good afternoon, and warm welcome you all. I, Dr. Bindu Menon, Associate Professor of Cyber, Kolhapur. It's my privilege to introduce the speaker of today's second session, Mr. Sudesh Haridas sir. He has more than 33 years of experience in the area of personal management, HR, and IR with reputed companies of Kolhapur and Pune. Sir is currently working as General Manager of HR and IR with Soundcasting Private Limited, Kolhapur. He is also accredited as Internal Quality Auditor for ISO 9001 Quality Management System, Internal Quality Auditor for MR4 ISO 14001, 45001 Environment and Occupational Health and Safety Management System. We are very glad to avail this opportunity to hear from you. Now with much honor, I request Haridas sir to take charge of this section. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bindu madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. So first of all, thanks to the management of cyber for taking all the efforts for arranging this webinar today and inviting me to share my thoughts with the participants. Since I'm working in a foundry or auto industry right now, my presentation shall mainly focus on the same. Besides, I have also tried to touch the NGO sector in my presentation. So when we speak about the domestic market for auto, there was already a recession prevailing in the economy for auto sector pre-COVID, and COVID-19 is going to hit the economy further, which is predicted to be bigger than the global financial crisis. The Society of Indian Auto Manufacturers, that is SIAM, which represents the auto manufacturers in India, have projected the likely scenario for F21, that is there will be around 20% to 35% drop across all the sectors of auto. It is also feared that auto industry can go back to 2010 and we will be utilizing our capacities at 50% levels.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. We request you to start your video.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, sorry. So basically, nevertheless, the per capita spread and the death toll in India is minimal as compared to the other countries, and which may lead to timely lifting of the lockdown. But of course, with some exceptions in the hotspot areas, the economic activities have now started, although in a small way. It is pertinent to note that the current curing rate is improving, which is now 37% as per the yesterday's toll. Of course, this could be further mitigated to some extent by a substantial economic package by the government, mainly focusing on MSMEs in part 1, support to the farmers and rural economy, support for migrants and urban poor, labor codes benefits for workers in part 2, support to agri economy, animal husbandry in part 3, and boost the coal mines, power industry, space program, infrastructural support, and power generation in part 4. Now looking into the auto market again, the original equipment manufacturers of autos and other industrial products may look for the localized markets. As we all know, many foreign companies may likely to move to India from China, resulting in the development of economy as a whole and job opportunities in particular. As we all see, the rural India is affected less as compared to urban India, and we find most are in the green zones. Tractors, which form a measure of auto market, is expected to have decent sales due to good Rabi crop and expectancy of normal monsoon season. The commercial vehicles like trucks, mini trucks, pickup vans, etc. may be affected the most short term. Most trucks are idle right now as the movements are not happening. If the government passes any relief for fuel prices and announces the passage of scrappage policy, this can help for the revival of truck industry. Operation and supply chain. I go to the operations and supply chain in an industry. Now see, foundries have certain forecasts or assumptions, or they work on business model which was in pre-COVID scenario. But those assumptions are not true, especially hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Fine, fine. Okay, fine, fine. So the first quarter after lockdown ends, there will be some level of smooth production. But it is predicted that we may operate at 50% of the previous levels for a couple of the next quarters before we gradually ramp up. Hello? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Okay, okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah,
So
sir, you can continue.
looking to the financial perspective, yeah, thank you very much. So looking to the financial perspective, my point of view, the funds planning is a key. Conservation of cash is very, very important in the current scenario, and we have to restrict our spendings to minimal. The customer payments may get delayed due to demand issues because they have to support the consumer. And it is predicted that there is loan repayment of 3 months, and which will be further extended for another 3 months. From an HR perspective, if we look at it, people's safety comes first, especially with respect to COVID. A lot of things have to be done from safety point of view. We have to adhere to the SOPs while starting our operations. And we understood that many large companies have made excellent SOPs. We have to retain, motivate, empower our people during this pandemic situation and also thereafter. There will be heavy challenges, manpower cost, basically government expectations to pay salaries, avoid retrenchment of people, etc. Government gives some industry the ability to find their own solutions stably with the employees rather than mandate salary payments, etc. during the period. To discuss the situation with the workforce representatives to chart out a common way ahead and keep the morale of the people and employees high. So what is the way ahead? So basically today customer is not able to predict himself what he will sell during the month. Time has come when we operate on a replenish based business model. We have to decide on the pre-decided inventory levels and based on how the customer lift the materials from us, keep on replenishing the inventories. Of course, this will help us and this will enable us to maintain optimum inventory levels considering the ups and downs in the offtake from customer. We have to focus on improving our productivity. We should focus more on multi-skilling, multitasking, multi-machining, etc. We need to improve on quality, reduce costs. So that should be the buzzword in the current scenario. Network एक मिनिट कवरेज बरोबर नाही आवाज ब्रेक यायला लागला होय काय अच्छा अच्छा आता काय ह्याच्यावर मी हे करतो ओके ओके ठीक आहे मी कंटिन्यू करतो ओके
Sir, you can continue.
Yeah, I'm continuing. Yeah. So we have to improve the quality. We have to reduce the cost. We have the rejections. We have to control waste. All this will help us in the current scenario. We need to focus on internal process improvements. That should be the key. So what is the impact of this COVID on employment opportunities? So even after the lockdown ends, consumer discretionary goods like automobiles, which includes trucks, tractors, and other segments, will not resume quickly as the cost of these items are very high. We may be knowing that many Indians, approximately 14 crores, have lost their jobs or livelihoods so far, and which has pushed the unemployment rate to around 27%, and which may move to follow. This has badly hurt our customer sentiments for all the costly goods. Hence, auto industry and auto component foundry industry is likely looking at least to 6 to 12 months period of sharply low demand before we hit the pro-COVID demand. See, this is on the top of a measure that was already there in the last financial year, when the auto industry sales has failed by around more than 26% as compared to the last financial year. Of course, this is certainly a tough time for all of us, and we have to be patient, calm, very meticulous in our spendings. We should invest our time on learning and developing our key sets to become sellable in the upcoming employment market when things improve post-COVID and when expectations of industry will be more. I've tried to touch the implications for NGOs also. So I was understood that there are certain NGOs who will be participating in this program. So I've tried to address that also. So basically NGOs depend on the CSR funding. So as of now, it appears that the CSR funding cuts are likely to be significantly higher than expected, are unlikely to be covered by other CSR funders. While the exact magnitude by which the CSR funding will reduce is not clear, it is important for NGOs to start thinking about how to significantly reduce the cost while maintaining their key capabilities, so that your work in core areas can ramp up when the CSR funding returns. The near and medium term focus of CSR funders is COVID-19. So it is important to think about what your NGO can do in that context. It would also be important to leverage your on-the-ground presence to learn about the new and emerging needs and to think about how you can address them. For instance, if you focus on building awareness for preventive healthcare in a community, you could address misinformation related to COVID-19 and provide actionable guidelines to the community. There may be a need to rethink delivery. For example, how will you deliver your program while maintaining social distancing norms? Hello, I am audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So basically, how you are going to manage your NGOs in the times of COVID. So these are some of the tips for them. Stay informed. First and foremost is the information is the key. Regularly checking for guidelines or instructions from the government or local bodies like World Health Organization should be included in your daily day-to-do list. Make sure you are up to date with such instructions and guidelines and your NGO complies to them as required. Second one is spread the word. Share the universally accepted advice around COVID-19 preventions and management. Then search for funding opportunities. If you are working at the front line on COVID-19, look for the funding opportunities, both locally as well as globally. There are many such opportunities available, and now the list is growing every day. For example, in India, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has announced that the funds spent by companies in the prevention and management of COVID would fall within the definition of companies' corporate social responsibility obligations. This would certainly mean a surge in corporate spending in that sector, and the work of many NGOs can benefit from this. Prepare for the financial implications. NGOs have to prepare for the financial implications by creating a plan for managing the unavoidable fixed costs, managing their cash flows, delaying the expenditure that may be delayed as of now, and basically getting into the lean management mode. They have to check the government portals and those of local authorities around any support being offered to the non-profit organizations like NGOs. So what will be the overall strategy? We have to think long-term and out of the box. We have to leverage digital technology while surviving short-term. As we all know, tough times never last, but tough people definitely do. Stay safe. All the best from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If there are any questions from the participants, you all are free to ask. I'll unmute all the participants. If there are any questions. Okay, we'll keep the question answer session. That is the third
Hello.
session.
Hi, I have a question. This is Vishal Pinjani here from Abhiman.
Yes,
Can
please
I
go
go
ahead.
I'm sorry I joined late, so I haven't heard the entire thing. I haven't registered yet. So this is open, and what is the procedure of registering? Should we do it now, or should we wait till the things get better on the lockdown or the quarantine front, coronavirus front? Did you get what I said, or should I repeat?
Please repeat your question.
Our initiative is not yet registered. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Haridas sir, can you hear
Our
this question?
initiative,
Yeah.
Vishal Panjani, please go ahead with
our
your
initiative is not yet Yes. So our initiative is not yet registered. So our, can we register it now during this lockdown period, or we wait for things to get better and then go ahead with and resume our activities?
Haridas sir, over to you.
No, actually, I have not understood what he is speaking about. I could not hear him properly.
Okay, sir, I'll go again. We have an initiative called Abhiman.
You
It's
have
a
an
community-based organization.
You have an?
It's a community. We have an initiative. It's a community-based organization.
Uh-huh.
And we want to register it as a trust.
Uh-huh.
Would it be a good time to go ahead and do it right now, or wait for some more time and let the things get better, maybe after lockdown or something?
Yeah, basically it is better to wait for some time till the lockdown ends.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
We will take the question answer session in the next session link that has been already shared with you by TVG Sharma on the WhatsApp group. Now I request Dr. Babu Zakaria sir to propose the vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
A very good afternoon to everybody. We have been listening to a good talk on industry and employment impact of COVID-19 by Sri Haridas, General Manager, Sound Casting. The salient points to be noted here are, first of all, it was very informative, and he has started by saying that industry was on the downside even before COVID-19, and added to that, the COVID-19 impact will affect us adversely. But still there are hopes because of certain other aspects. And he has pointed out that movement of industries from China to India is one of the hopes. And also, if government can reduce the fuel costs, it can push up at least the auto industry better. And also he has touched upon the impact on NGOs, because if industries are not doing well, the CSR funding will go down. But again, here also there is another key he has pointed out, that money spent on COVID-related activities now comes under CSR. And he has put a lot of other informative points which gives some of the positive thoughts to us. So thank you, sir, for the time you have spent, and thank you for the information you have given. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Babu Zakaria sir. Our third session link has been shared by Dr. TVG Sharma. I request all the participants and our guest speaker to please join in for the question answer session.
राणी तुझ्याशी बोलतोय. हा थांब.
Welcome back to the third session of question answer. I have muted all the participants. Participants who are having question, please do a hand raise so that I can unmute you. Welcome Gupte sir and Haridas sir for the question answer session. Okay, we have a question from Abhijit.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, Abhijit, you can proceed with your question.
Yeah, post COVID-19, we'll be looking to restore the economy, right? So will companies be doing more hiring than ever before?
Abhijit, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Post COVID-19, since we'll be looking to revive the economy, companies will ramp up production, right? So which means they need to hire more workforce.
Yeah.
So
Sir,
do you
see,
think the
basically,
unemployment rate will come down?
yeah, basically, Abhijit, see, this financial year, that is 2021, will be very hard for all of us, right? And after 2021, the next year, that is 21-22, will be definitely having some good hopes. And at that time, there will be a lot of employment opportunities available, because certain companies will be coming in India. Certain funds will be induced for the small and medium sector undertakings, so that definitely some certain mergers will going to happen. So definitely that will provide a good employment opportunities for the people. But that after this year, that will open in the next year, 21-22.
Thank you, sir. We have the next question from Pavan Kumar.
Hello.
Yes, Pavan Kumar, you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah, myself Pavan Kumar. My question is to Haridas sir. Sir, as we know, many migrant workers has been allowed to reach their hometown, like UP and Bihar, by facility provided by the government. Our state is very much dependent on such migrant worker manpower. How are industries looking forward to start their plants, industries with this less manpower?
Okay, so right now, see, basically there are certain restrictions still imposed on some red zone areas or containment zones. So industries which are in Bombay, Pune will be affected much. Although we have started certain operations in Kolhapur, a region like Kolhapur, we are now take our example. Our industry is running just at the rate of 20 to 25% with our manpower. So
yes,
we are running at 20 to 25% of our operations right now, right? So we are actually employing more than 1,000 people in our factory, and now we are running at around 200 to 250 people. That means almost we have reduced to 25%. And definitely this challenge will be there, as I have mentioned in my presentation. This will continue for another 6 to 9 months. And definitely now these people have already left for their natives, and I don't think they will be coming back till Diwali vacation. So these 3 to 4 months will be very crucial for the industry.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Participants, if you have any question, please do a hand raise. So we have a question from TVG Sharma sir.
Yeah, my question is to Gupte sir. I would like to, in fact, inform our participants on behalf of Gupte sir that which type of IT skills will be having the market in the coming years, especially in the post-COVID times, and maybe some message from his side to the IT training institutions is what we are looking forward from his side. Gupte sir, please.
I think Gupte sir has been disconnected from the session. He'll be joining soon. Sir, Haridas sir?
Yeah.
We have a question from TVG Sharma, sir.
Sir, in your presentation, I think you have given a comprehensive view of all the skills, but especially from the management institutions, what kind of upskilling you may be expecting from the students in this COVID times, so they'll be more absorbable or employable in the industry market.
So see, Sharma sir, what I have is that students lacks in communication and presentation. It's one of the keys to get yourself inducted in our organization as well as to perform in the organization. So that on that front, people should concentrate. Even I observe that the people are not speaking well in English also. They lack communication in English skills. So there they have to concentrate much. They have to develop their personalities. They have to develop their personalities.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have a question which has been posted on the chat group. I will just read out the question, sir. How can we motivate employees to reduce fear of COVID-19? And as a management, what precautions one should take in starting the industry?
Okay. So I will share my experience when we started our operations. See, basically, we started somewhere in the last month of 28th April, right? So first of all, what we did, so certain processes have to be followed. We have to take permission from the MIDC portal, and then those who are permitted, they only can be permitted to enter the company premises, right? So that was the first step. Second step was that we have disinfected all our premises 2 days before our operation started. So all the plant, all the machines are disinfected with the disinfectants, right? Then on the very first day, we started thermal scanning of people. Every person who enters the factory premises has to undergo a thermal scanning process. And if we find that there is, he is not, his temperatures are showing something odd things. So he will be kept aside, and he will not be permitted to enter the premises, and he will be referred to the concerned doctor for proper treatment. Then we developed SOPs, safe operating procedures, and we on the very first day we started explaining the SOPs to the people, which is drafted in Marathi so that they understand the social distancing, wearing mask, etc., etc. So all these things were put in the SOPs, and those were displayed at the prominent places in the factory, as well as they were explained to the people so that they understand what they are expected to do. And then basically we keep on monitoring the people, whether they are following all these things or not. And yeah, things are moving. As I have said earlier, we have started the operations in a way. We have started with just 20 to 25% people. And now actually, because there is no demand for the product, because we cannot build our inventories when there is no demand from the customer side. So it is better to be lean. It is better to control your costs and adopt the lean manufacturing practices. So that is what we have done during the operation, starting of these operations in our company.
Yes, thank you very much, sir, for sharing how you have taken, or your organization have taken precautions while starting your organization after COVID-19, or now during the COVID-19 period. We have one more question from Amruta Joshi. What are the new opportunities for NGO without CSR? I repeat the question, sir. What are the new opportunities for NGOs without CSR?
So I'm sorry for that. I'm not expert in NGOs. So I was given to understanding that just yesterday, so I could actually prepare myself for these NGOs also. But definitely, as my knowledge goes, basically NGOs function on the funds raising from the CSR activities of the companies. So definitely they have to look ahead. And basically this will be a tough time for them also, because companies will be facing a lot of difficulties right now. Funds management, cash flows will be a big difficulty for the companies. So definitely they will not be in a position to lend the money in the form of donations or deposits to the NGOs. So as of now, we have to wait and watch the situation. That is, I would say, the next path for these NGOs. They have to see the opportunities. They have to, as I have said in my presentation also, they have to seek the opportunities as far as possible. Contact the companies, talk to them, understand their issues. That is what I would suggest.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have one more question from Seshagiri Sarma.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My question is, since the countries are going local, can we see a dip in our earnings in foreign currency?
Haridas sir, did you get the question? Was it audible?
No, I could not get the question.
I request Seshagiri to Sarma to please repeat the question.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, sir.
Yeah. Since the countries are going local, can we see a dip in our earnings in foreign currency?
Actually, frankly speaking, I'm not a finance guy, so it is not possible for me to throw some light on this question. I'm very sorry for that.
No issues, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have one more question on our WhatsApp group from Dr. Devi Das. How we sustain our economy after COVID-19 and how long it will be in our economy?
Now see, there are certain packages coming from government boosting the economy, as we have seen the space, then military services, and then agri industry, because agri industry form the base of our country. So all these packages and industry, SME, small, micro, small, medium scale industries, then few other industries also, they are getting some packages. So basically, this should basically help these industries to sustain themselves in this COVID situation and come out with challenging opportunities, business opportunities. And of course, I have said in my earlier presentation also, many companies are coming to India. Just recently, Mr. Subhash Desai, our minister, had taken a webinar meeting with the concerned industrialist, and he has assured that he will be taking up this issue with the CM of our state, and they will be trying to basically come. They will be trying to create a proper infrastructure for these industries to come down to India, which will help definitely in improving the economy of our country.
Yeah, we are now going for the last question. If any participants have any question, please. Okay, we have a question from Veersen Saroke. Which social sector is best for CSR activity, like health, rural, urban?
Yeah, basically, health sector will need impetus from the NGOs or industries, because there basically we want to give proper Medicare facilities to the people. So that area, I think, will be a most awaiting area for all these CSR activities. And should focus on Medicare facilities. That's the need of the day right now.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. There is again a question from Abhijit, which is coming.
Currently, we live in a gig economy, which means there are no allocated office spaces. People work from home. So how hard is it to manage people who work from home than in traditional normal offices?
So see, basically, most of the IT companies, what I have heard, like TCS, Infosys, have already started in a big way the work from home concept. In fact, in the European countries already they have adopted this concept of work from home, and definitely this concept is coming to India also. And on the backdrop of this COVID-19, definitely companies are looking ahead for having this work from home concept, so that this will also reduce the workspace, because definitely when a person comes in the office, we have to allocate the furniture space, we have to make it available for him. So in this scenario of work from home, definitely those expenses will be reduced substantially. And of course, you have to believe your own people, and you have proper systems to evaluate whether the person has really worked from home or not. Of course, you have to believe your people. That is one of the keys.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your expertise and guidance with all our participants. Now we move to the last concluding part of this session of today's webinar. Now I request Dr. TVG Sharma, sir, to propose the vote of thanks for today's webinar session on social outreach.
At the outset, I am extremely thankful to Shri Vinay Gupte sir and Shri Sudesh Haridas sir for contributing their valuable insights into the COVID-19 post-pandemic situation on industry and employment. Sir, being practitioners, your knowledge might have broadened the understanding among the participants about the situation and the precautions they would like to take and start their economic and income earning activities. Thank you very much, sir, for both the sirs for giving their valuable guidance and participating in the question answer session. I'm also thankful to all the participants who have spared their time for attending this particular interaction and presentation. I'm also thankful to all the participants who have raised the queries and interacted with the resource persons who have been available for this particular session. For organizing any particular event, it is necessary that the management of the institutions actually give the support. At this juncture, I would like to express my vote of thanks to our management, Dr. Ranjit Shinde, trustee member, Shri Rishikesh Shinde sir, the entire staff and faculty of cyber, and especially the internal quality assurance team who are always enthusiastic for conducting this kind of social outreach activities. I am also thankful to the participants who have enrolled from not only Maharashtra, but from other states such as Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Goa. A special thanks to all these Maharashtra as well as outstation participants for sparing their time for interacting and listening to the wisdom of the practitioners in the field. I'm also thankful to all the organizing team for making this event a slightly fruitful. Formally, I express that the session actually is ending, and before I end, two small instructions. Immediately after the end of the session, we will be sharing the link for the feedback. The feedback link will be active for 10 minutes. And after the feedback link is deactivated, then a link relating to the e-certificates will be shared on the WhatsApp group. So I request all the participants to complete the feedback formalities and then go to the link of e-certificates. Once again, thanking all the resource persons and the enthusiastic participants, I sign off from Cyber IQAC. Thank you very much, all of you.